Welcome to an all-new episode of St. Louis Presents.
We've got a full show today, Debbie.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We're going to check in with a couple of organizations here in town that are doing some great work, including an organization for something that I'm interested to learn more about, Rett syndrome.
What is Rett syndrome?
We'll find out. Also, they've hit upon something really clever as their fundraiser. You know, everybody does a 5K or a gala these days, so we'll talk about what they're doing.
You're not going to tell me what it is?
No, you got to stay tuned.
We're also going to talk to a gentleman with the Guardian Angel Settlement Association, which has been around a long time, way over 100 years, and they work with low-income people in St. Louis in a whole bunch of different ways to make people's lives better and to allow people to improve themselves, really.
We're also going to talk about sportsmanship, because I think most of us get a little upset when we see how some parents treat their kids on the athletic field or the referees, and the importance of great sportsmanship.
Now, you're a parent, so are you admitting anything, or?
No.
Okay.
I'm a great sport. All that and more is coming up on this episode of St. Louis Presents. Stay with us. Welcome back. The International Rett Syndrome Foundation will host its 8th annual St. Louis Strollathon this May. And joining me now is the chair, Joyce Opinski. Joyce, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so 2 questions, Strollathon and Rett syndrome. Let's get to Rett syndrome first, because I can probably speak for many of our viewers right now not familiar with Rett syndrome.
Sure, most people have never heard of it. I hadn't. It's Rett syndrome, R-E-T-T. It's a rare neurological disability. It affects primarily girls, about 1 in 15,000 girls around the world. And it becomes apparent somewhere between 2-3 years old, maybe sometimes a little bit earlier. Girls usually develop normally when they're first born, and then start missing milestones or having some developmental delays where they go through a period of regression and lose skills that they had. And it's they have a wide range of impairments. Most girls have no speech or very limited speech, limited hand use, so they're not able to sign or type to use a computer, so communication is really the big challenge. Walking, about half the girls walk, half don't. My daughter doesn't walk. And then a whole host of health conditions. A lot of the girls have seizures, various GI issues and other health issues.
So it was probably a difficult period when you were trying to figure out what was wrong with your daughter, because some of those symptoms could probably be confused with something else. So talk about the process there.
Exactly. So for my daughter, everything was fine when she was first born. She sat up on time, rolled over on time, and then somewhere around 9 to 12 months was when we started becoming concerned, where she wasn't hitting some of the typical developmental milestones that kids hit. She wasn't trying to crawl or pull up to walk or anything. So it was at that point that we went to specialists and started the testing process. And it took about a year of various tests for her to be diagnosed with Rett syndrome. She was diagnosed on her 2nd birthday, which was 2002, right around. And the gene was actually found in 1999 that causes Rett syndrome. So that really sped up the process for diagnosing girls earlier.
Do you have any idea approximately how many girls or kids or people may have Rett syndrome in the St. Louis area? How big is the Rett Syndrome Foundation here?
Sure. So there's about 100 families or so in the state of Missouri. We have a group of about probably 20-30 families in the St. Louis area, including both Missouri and Illinois. And we get together regularly. A lot of them come to the Strollathon. And, it's nice to have a group with people that are going through, the same thing to be able to connect with.
So let me ask you before we let you go, Strollathon. Now, people have done walkathons, people do 5Ks. What's a stroll-a-thon?
Right. Well, not everybody can walk or run a 5K, so it's sort of a stroll and roll for Rett syndrome. People that can walk. People that need to be, rolled, roll. So that's where the name came from, the stroll-a-thon. So
Terrific.
This will be our 8th one. It's at Tillis Park. It's a 1 mile, just a fun walk around the park. And all the money goes to the Rett Syndrome Foundation to raise money for research.
To raise money and certainly get that awareness out as well. So if people want to get involved, we certainly encourage them to get more information at rettsyndrome.org, R-E-T-T syndrome.org. Joyce, good luck with the event, and thanks for telling us more about Rett syndrome.
Great, thank you.
All right, and we'll throw it to Steve Potter right now, who has a whole group with him on the other side of the studio.
Thank you, Debbie. Yes, we do. The Guardian Angel Settlement Association is getting ready for their annual gala, which is coming up later this month. And with me to my direct left is Brandon Sterling. He's the development director, Guardian Angel, and also two of the sponsors who we're going to talk to also. Casey Berg is director of community affairs for Nestle Purina, and Mark Schlake is in community relations with Ameren, Missouri. So, Brandon, the Guardian Angel Settlement Association has a long history. I think you originally began as an orphanage.
Yes, we started as an orphanage
like 18 something?
1859.
Wow.
Started as an orphanage for immigrant girls.
Wow. And over the years, it's developed into a non-for-profit agency that helps low-income people in a whole bunch of different ways.
Yes, we see ourselves as a community anchor. Our goal is to improve the quality of life for people that live in St. Louis. We do that through 3 core areas. Early childhood education. We're actually considered one of the highest performing Head Start providers of childcare for children that age. In addition, we do emergency aid, which includes rendering utility assistance. We have a client choice food pantry. And in addition, one of the things that most people are really excited about is that we do self-sufficiency counseling and workshops. There's a reoccurring theme through all of these services, which is that we want to provide a hand up, not a handout. So there's some assurance there. So people that use our pantry or come to us for rental assistance take self-sufficiency classes. They can work with a caseworker on things like financial literacy. And our parents that have children in our Child Development Center are always working or going to school.
I like the slogan you use, a hand up, not a, would you say it again?
Hand up, not a handout.
Right, because so you're not just handing over money to help pay somebody's rent, you're trying to help people improve themselves and improve their lives.
Yes, we believe that we're in a partnership with St. Louisans.
And how important are sponsors to you?
Absolutely critical, absolutely critical. We serve about 7,000 clients a year, and that couldn't be done without their support.
Well, we have two of your sponsors here. Casey, you're with Nestle Purina. Just talk a little bit about why supporting an agency like Guardian Angels is an important thing for your company.
Well, we consider ourselves and Guardian Angel heritage organizations from the long time ago from St. Louis, because we were founded in 1894, and we've been working with them for a really long time. They do provide such wonderful help for the community, such full service, and we kind of try to help them in the same ways, because we have board representation, we do volunteer events there, we give money, of course, and it's really a partnership, I think you would say, right?
And Mark, maybe would you chime in and talk a little bit about Ameren, Missouri, and why you're involved?
Can I just say ditto? The same as her?
Sure you
can. She pretty much wrapped it up, but it's easy to support organizations like Guardian Angel Settlement. We've been partnering with them for about 24 years, and not in just financial ways, but also getting out and doing grounds cleanups and volunteering, getting our employees involved any way we can.
Well, I know that you want to show your support right now. And
Speaking of money.
Speaking of money, I think we have some things coming in here. And why don't you make a little presentation?
So I think I'll provide a little context.
Okay.
So you mentioned our gala. It's April the 25th, Sheridan Westport Lakeside Chalet, and they are our presenting sponsors.
I see. So it's because of them that you're able to have
Yes.
the gala in the first place.
Absolutely.
And you do that, just to fund your programs through the year?
Yes, it's one of our most important fundraisers.
Well, it looks like here a check from Purina for $20,000 and an equal amount, $20,000, from Ameren, Missouri.
Great news.
So,
Happy to support.
so you've been doing this for over 100 years, I guess, right? So
Our gala is pretty old, yeah.
is it really?
Yes.
So what's next? Anything special that you have in the future? Changes you want to make? Expand services? Anything like that?
Yes, we have a brand new site at 2700 Cherokee Street. We'll have a resale shop there. In addition, our social services, where we serve over 6,800 people, will also happen there as well.
Well, thank you so much for you all being here. We wish you the best of luck. Again, that Saturday, April 25th, 6 p.m. at the Sheraton Westport Lakeside Chalet. And if you go on the web, go to gasastl.org. And Debbie, I have worked with you for a while, and one thing I've always thought is that you're a pretty good sport.
Thank you.
You have to be to work with me.
Oh, absolutely. But being a good sport is very important, and it's important to teach your children to be a good sport. And the St. Louis Sports Commission is an independent, privately funded nonprofit organization making St. Louis a better place to live, visit, work, and play through sports.
And joining us now is the Executive Director, Solomon Alexander. Solomon, hi.
Thank you so much for having me. Just for clarity's sake, our president is Frank Viverito. I'm the director of our foundation.
Did I give you a promotion?
We gave you a promotion.
You did give me a promotion, which is fine most of the time, but I don't want to take any of Frank's shine away from me.
Now, this has been something that the Sports Commission has been looking into for a number of years, and I think it gets more and more important because, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a lot of parents out there who are now approaching youth sports as sort of a mechanism because their kid's going to get that full ride to some university, and that is kind of the mentality out there of you've got to do good because you're going to get a scholarship.
Yes, that exactly. That has happened, but it's not entirely the parents' fault. A couple of things have taken place. One of the things that's happened is that you don't see kids playing outside. You don't see them playing sandlot baseball, pickup basketball, the way that they used to, and that's a symptom of, things not being as safe as they used to be. Like I used to go outside, and my mom, would tell me I had 2 check-in times, lunchtime and when the street lights came on. You can't turn your kids loose for 12 hours in the neighborhood anymore. So parents are more engaged in everything their kids do. The second thing that happened was we had some superior athletes come from very humble beginnings. You had Tiger Woods and his dad, and the fact that a man who had sort of played golf the way that my dad played golf created the world's greatest golfer. And you had the Williams sisters and their dad, and he taught them to play tennis with a book I think he got from the library and with no net. It's like, well, if this guy can do that, I know I can. Like, I can create the next Michael Jordan if this guy did this. Well, one thing leads to another, and you have parental behavior that's out of control because one of the things that parents don't understand is that kids can have fun and work hard at the same time. And sometimes when we hear have fun, that means that I'm not really trying.
Right,
that
you're not
means
being
I don't really
serious.
care.
It's so interesting you bring that up because just this morning I was watching one of the national news shows, and this really doesn't have anything exactly to do with what we're talking about, but they did a story about a young girl that was on some sort of sports team, intramural sports team, and she wasn't getting along with the coach, and she wanted to trade teams, and the organization wouldn't let her. Anyway, they made a big point this morning talking about how sometimes parents get too involved and take the fun out of it because they say kids just want to play and have a good time.
And then the kids get burned out.
Yes, they do. 70% of kids quit playing sports by age 13, and that's all sports. It doesn't matter if they had a bad experience on a baseball team or a swim team or what have you. They don't just move on to the next sport and say, you know what, maybe this experience is better. They just quit altogether. Well, 13 years old is too early to quit basically anything. And when you're at home, from that 3 to 6 time period, sort of after school, but before mom and dad get home from work, it's a lot of time for mischief, a lot of time for nonsense, to happen. And that's one of the main reasons we don't want kids to stop participating in sports. I mean, who knows what they're going to be? I mean, they could be MVP or they could be, the last person, at the end of the bench, but participation is key.
So does the St. Louis Sports Foundation with the sportsmanship program, does it work specifically with parents or with kids, or what's the emphasis?
We work with everyone who experiences or who wants to have a positive sports experience. So for us, that's parents, that's coaches, that's kids, that's officials. Relative to a new venture of ours, it's Sportsmanship Delivered, and that's where I go out to local youth organizations, schools, whoever will have me out to speak to those coaches, kids, those parents about how they can make the experience better for everyone. It's not just parents pay your money and be quiet. It's parents, you can get something out of this too. And here's how you help your kid, because I gotta believe that most parents want to help their kids succeed, and they just don't know how to go about it. And most would be receptive to learning how to go about it.
Well,
And organized sports can be so important in kids growing up in a lot of different ways. Yeah.
Solomon Alexander is with the St. Louis Sports Foundation. We're talking sportsmanship. Thank you so much, and keep us updated on your progress.
Thank you all so much for having me. Our website is sportsmanship.org.
Terrific. We hope you enjoyed this episode of St. Louis Presents.
And we want to thank our guests like Solomon here, and we want to thank you at home for watching.
We'll see you next week on STL TV.
Bye.